Hello friends, Kisan is here again and welcome you in this video tutorial. In this video we are going to talk how to change the default server port in case of a Spring Boot web application. So there are many ways to change the default port of embedded server in a Spring Boot application. So in this tutorial we'll walk through the how to change a Spring Boot default server port. When a Spring Boot application starts, the embedded server such as Tomcat starts with default port. The embedded Tomcat starts with 8080 port as default. There are many ways to change the default server port. We can use property file, system variables and arguments with Java commands to change embedded servlet container settings such as default server port. We can also change embedded servlet container setting programmatically. So here I have created a project with name Spring Boot change server port web app. I know this name is very weird, but for learning or demo purpose that's fine. Okay, so here if you go to the src main Java, then we have a package called com.infotech.app, and here we have a class is called bootstrap class, which contains the main method, and this is the main class from where our Spring Bootstrap class runs, right? This in at rate a Spring Boot application contains within that we have a lot of annotations, right? Spring Boot configuration, enable auto configuration, component scan, etc. Right? Now we have another package which is basically REST controller class. So you can see this class is annotated as at rate REST controller. So this solves the purpose of RESTful controller class, and this RESTful controller class is having a very simple API which returns basically a string when we hit base URL of this application, right? And URI you can see slash. So here you can use get mapping or at rate request mapping annotation, both will work. And inside the resources we have a application.properties, so that currently that is blank. And finally we have a pom.xml. In pom.xml you can see here we have a something is called parent, right? So this is the parent starter project. So this indicates that our project, which is called Spring Boot change server port web app, this project, our project is a child of this project, this Spring Boot starter project. Now inside the property we have a source encoding, output encoding, which is UTF-8, and this is a Java version. So latest Java version is JDK 1.8, which is a stable version that we are using. Now inside the dependency we have a Spring Boot starter web. So this basically why we have added, because we want to create a web-based application, and this Boot starter project basically downloads the all required dependency which is needed to create the web application, and that is added in our Maven dependency right here. And second, we have a dev tools we have added, because when we make any change in our source code, then we don't want to restart the server automatically. So if dev tools is on the class path, then server will be, once you make any changes, any source, if you make any change in the source code, then server will be restarted automatically. And finally we have a dependency for to write a test case. If you want to write some kind of GNU test cases or Mockito kind of test cases, then dependencies is for that. And finally we have a plugins which will helps you to generate executable jar or war file. So that is pretty much right. Now let me start this application. So how do we start this application? Either you can right click on this project, go to the run as, and you have an option Spring Boot app, you can run like this, or you can go to the main class, and here right click over here, run as, you have a Java application or a Spring Boot app, any of the option you can select. So let's run this project. Now here you can investigate the console, and here you can see our project is running on the so guys, one thing I need to remove, because now server is not running on the default port. So if I go to the property, and sorry, if I go to the run, let me kill the server first, and let me go to the run as run configuration, and here something I have entered. So because of this, so let me remove this guy. We'll talk about this how to. And after removing this, let me restart the application again and see the console, Eclipse console. And here you can see Tomcat is started on the default port 8080. If you go to the browser and if you try to hit the base URL of this application, http://localhost 8080, then we'll get the response from our RESTful API, hello world, right? So by default Tomcat is running on the default port 8080. Now suppose if you want to change the port number of the Tomcat, then first approach using property file. To change server port using property file, we need to configure server.port property in our application.property. So I go to the application.property. Here I'll write server.port, and here I am going to assign 9090. And once you save this file, then see application is restarted automatically because DevTools is in class path, and here you can see now server is running on the 9090. And if you try to access this URL, then nothing will get, right? Because server we have changed, server port we have changed. So now we'll have to invoke on, you will have to hit on the 9090, and now we get the response. So this is the very first approach. You learn how to change the default server port of the Tomcat. Now server will, once you change the port number 9090, then server will start with 9090 port. To get random port number, to get random server port, you will have to assign 0 to this property. If I assign 0 to this property and if I save, then server will, basically in this case now Spring Boot will start server on the port that is not being used currently by any server in the system. So that will, you can see now random port is getting assigned, and that is 59090. So every time when you start the application, then basically Spring will take the random port, and this port is port which is not being used by the some other process that is getting assigned. And if I try to access this API on this port, then we'll get the output, and we are getting the output, right? So if you assign 0, then random port will be assigned, right? Now next sorry guys, so next approach we'll see. Now I'm going to comment this code. Now next approach, we can using Eclipse runtime configuration with environment variable. Now what you will have to do, basically to change the Spring Boot default server port setting in Eclipse by configuring environment variable in run configuration. So you will have to go to the main class and right click over here, go to the run as, and here you can get the option run configuration. So go to here, and here you have a different tab, right? One of the tabs is environments. Here click on the new environment name. Basically you will have to specify server underscore port, and port I'm going to assign like let's say 8181, right? And okay, so now we have added variable as well as variable value as a environment section, and apply and run this application. Now Tomcat should start on the port 8181, right? And here you can see now Tomcat has started on the port number 8181. So this is another approach to change the Tomcat server port, right? Now I'm going to stop this server. And another approach, so using Eclipse run configuration with argument. So to run a Spring Boot application in Eclipse, we run the class containing main method with a Spring application as Java application, right? So this is our bootstrap class. So in this bootstrap class, you will have to go run as run configuration, and here this I'm going to remove, right? So now next approach we'll have to select arguments, and here in program argument section you will have to write -- server dot port, and here you can assign like 8585, sorry, equals to 8585. Now apply and run this application again. Now you can see, you can verify the port number of the Tomcat, and here you can see now Tomcat is started on the port number 8585. So this is the third approach to set the Tomcat port, right? So what I'll kill this server, I'll go to here and I go to the run configuration, and here in argument section I'm going to remove this one because I have to show remaining approach as well. Now if I run this application, then again Tomcat will start on the default port 8080, right? Now there are a couple of approach still pending. There we'll see how to change the Tomcat port number, right? And that approach is nothing but the programmatically, how we can change the server port programmatically, right? Now you can see again now server port is our Tomcat is running on the 8080, right? So now there is one more approach. What you can do, you can go to this home directory of this project and you can do mbn clean build, right? So if you go to this directory, I mean project home directory, and here you can open the command prompt. So I'm working on the Windows 8, so here you can do cmd. So you can open the command prompt, and here you can issue the command mvn clean install, right? And before running this command, let me show you this directory. Now target directory nothing we have, right? And once you issue this command mvn clean install, then this is going to basically delete all content within the target, and that will generate a new executable jar, right? So this will take few seconds, and this clean bin install will be completed. Now it's we are just waiting to message build successful. Now build successful. Let's go and refresh this project, and you can see in target a lot of folders is created. One of the jar which is created with your project name, right? And this is our executable jar. So let me open the command prompt and let me explain you. So now you will have to go to the command prompt again, and what you can do, you can write a java minus or hyphen jar, and you can specify the jar name, right, like this. And you can have a like hyphen server dot port, and here you can assign any port like 9090, and once you press the enter, then basically this executable jar will run, and server will be started on the port number 9090. So this is also basically you can use to start a new port using Java command line, right? And the second way to do the same, you can do like this. You can do java hyphen jar, and this command, this server port number you can assign like this, hyphen d server port, and port number you can assign like this, and you will have to specify the your jar name, right? So if you are in your project home directory, then you will have to do like this target slash, and here also you will have to do target slash. So this is also a way to assign the new port number of the Tomcat using Java command line, right? So this is almost I would say this is fourth or fifth approach. Now in next video we'll see how we can change the Tomcat port number as well as some other settings like in servlet web container, how we can change the port number as well as some other property. In next video I'm going to show you basically how to change the Tomcat port number programmatically, right? So thanks for watching this video. This code I'm going to put on the GitHub, and GitHub location I will specify in the video description. See you next video. Thanks for watching this video.